So hi, welcome to Good Noise Podcast. We're here with Mister. We're going to ask him some questions today. I'm going to start. What inspired you to start the project, and what does the band name mean?
So I've been trying to get involved in my local scene for a couple of years now, and only within the past year have I actually succeeded in that. And that's mainly been me working for a local venue called the Clubhouse in downtown Toms River, New Jersey. And so a couple months back, I decided to finally start making music again and actually pursuing it. And the name Mister comes from an Elliott Smith song,
Okay.
from the song Waltz Number 2 XO. There's the
Mhm.
lyric Tell Mr. Man, which for some reason has always stuck out to me.
Mm-hmm.
But the name Mr. Man doesn't really translate well to an artist name,
Yeah.
so I just cut out the man and made it Mr.
Okay.
Mister.
I like that.
Sick. Okay.
Thank you.
So I know you just released your debut album today.
Yes.
Actually, congratulations on that.
Thanks, congrats.
How do you
Thank you.
feel about the initial response to it?
Well, obviously, with the world being in the state it's in, I don't want to push it very much right now because there's a lot more on everyone's mind than just music at the moment.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
so far, it has been very good and overwhelming. A lot more than I personally expected, which I love.
Okay.
And even the response to the singles that we put out earlier, I've loved, and it's doing good.
That's good.
Good.
Awesome to hear.
Happy.
Thank you.
So, where was your headspace while you were writing the album Descent?
So it's kind of been all over the place of going through literature and different influences. Like that's where the title comes from. Descent Nine Stages is kind of Dante's Descent into Hell, the Nine Stages,
Oh,
which is yeah.
sorry.
Sorry about that. My chair is squeaky.
It's okay. Which is kind of like how love can relate to pain and the darkness of it, which I've always been fascinated by. And I've been to my fair share of funerals and stuff like that, and I've gone through enough breakups to know like love is a beautiful thing, but it's also a very dark thing that can cause a lot of pain. So that's kind of where my headspace was in writing this.
So I think you touched on it a little bit. What made you choose like the name for this album?
Well, the descent is obviously from Dante's actual descent into hell, and the nine stages of love and pain and all that is, going through the different motions of, processes of denial and grief, etc., of dealing with a loss, dealing with a breakup, so on.
Okay. Solid. So oh my god. Okay, what band's influences do you think you can hear on the album?
I definitely hear the band Him.
Okay.
That's been my favorite band for quite a while now. I've always been a massive fan of Him, which does translate if you compare my music to theirs. But there's also stuff like the band Life of Agony, which is kind of like a post-hardcore band. And while you may not be able to hear like some of the more like pop punk emo influences, I definitely think it's in there and it inspires the way that I write lyrics and all that.
Mhm.
So while musically it may be a heavy kind of metal album, I guess you could call it, but lyrically it comes from the place of American football, etc.
Okay.
Solid.
Yeah.
I like that.
All over the map.
So, which song, on the album, would you say took the longest to write?
Which one took the longest? I would say the song Match Made in Hell. That's my favorite track, and just recording vocals for that was a painful process. I can usually have music done within a couple days, week probably, but lyrics, that took me. Writing the lyrics wasn't the problem, it was recording it because you try and scream so much and you eventually just destroy your throat and you got to give it another couple days. So that was the longest to record. In terms of writing, I would say Sing the Serenade was the hardest to write, mainly because I knew that track it had a special quality to it that I loved, that I wanted to get right, and I'd like to think that I did it.
All right. So how did you choose the opener and closer for the album, and did you write them to be an opener and closer, or did it just kind of fall that way?
Well, the song Nicotine, which is the closer of the album, was from older Mr. material that I had written, which I had released back in October
Mhm.
or November, something like that. That I've kind of disowned now because it was
Okay.
I was involved in a different scene that kind of got canceled that I don't want to associate with anymore.
I get that.
Alright.
And so the song Nicotine was my favorite from that era, and it definitely was more of like a pop punk tune, but I like to give it that like new Mr. like synthy kind of dark twist.
Mhm.
And that was always the fan favorite, so that's why I closed it out with that one. And the intro track is just kind of this gloomy like storm setting of things trilling upwards and getting darker, and as you kind of go into that descent,
Okay.
as I'd like to think.
Yeah, I think it set up the album very well for like the
Makes
experience you're
sense.
going to get from it.
Thank you.
So, if you could choose one song from the album to represent your project to like a new person, introduce you to them, what song would you choose and why?
I would say that would be the song Heart Killer, because that has all of the elements of like a Mr. song on the album, while not being, too heavy or too dark. It's fairly light in comparison to a song like Match Made in Hell, and I'd like to think that lyrically it was a pretty good song in terms of mixing like the dirty kind of low grim vocal style and like a brighter style during the chorus of things getting, a little bit crazier and more hectic.
Solid. Solid.
Thank you.
So, sorry. The top 3 songs you're looking forward, so what are your top 3 songs that you're looking forward to play live from this album?
Definitely, that would be Match Made in Hell, number 1, of course. Heart Killer, and then Sing the Serenade. Those are the closest to, like, full big songs that you would expect to hear at a concert. Match Made in Hell would be number 1 just because that's the craziest song on the album. It's the most hectic. And Heart Killer is just, it's easy to sing along to. You can definitely get along with it in a live setting, and Sing the Serenade was the lead single, so that's what people would expect to hear, and that is also a song that I would love to play live.
Alright.
Hopefully, this ends sooner rather than later, and we can all
Yeah,
go back to that.
definitely.
So for the last couple of questions, we're going to shift away from music and go straight to
Yeah,
Death
sure.
Row. So if you're on
Alright.
Death Row, what would your last meal be and why?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Definitely.
I'd probably just go with a pizza.
Okay.
Doesn't really matter
Okay.
where, just because I'm so used to it, and I do it so much anyways, as is, that it's comfortable.
Alright. What toppings would you get?
I definitely would have to go with pepperoni, of course.
Solid.
I personally am a fan of black olives and bacon.
Black olives?
Black
I agree with
olives,
black
hell yeah.
olives, yeah.
Oh, no taste.
Shut the fuck up, Rayanne.
Get out of here!
Black olives are so gross.
They're so
Guys-
good. Like, if you have
They're
black
great.
olives with pineapple, it's perfect.
What? You? Oh my god.
Wait, are you a pineapple on pizza person?
I myself am
Oh!
not.
Oh, you guys are
You're not?
disgusting.
I'm not.
I'm leaving.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I quit, guys. I quit.
Sorry.
That's it.
I'm sorry for
Okay.
your loss.
Okay, wait, what drink would you get with your pizza though?
No, I'd probably just go with a Coke.
All right.
A Coke?
Probably.
Solid, simple,
Solid.
perfect.
I believe
Alright.
this.
So, if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
One fictional world. I'd probably go with Harry Potter.
Mhm.
Well, I
Everyone
myself,
says.
I'm not the biggest fiction fan, but it would be very interesting to just live in that world and see how everything actually works in translation from, the novels and the movies to like an actual real world setting. It'd be
Yeah.
interesting
yeah.
to see.
All right.
What house do you think you would be in?
I don't even know. I'd say
Really?
possibly Gryffindor.
Gryffindor.
Possibly.
Solid.
Possibly.
Solid.
Okay.
Alright. Alright.
I'm not sure.
Hufflepuff gang, but it's
That's
okay.
what the online test said at least. So.
Oh, okay. Then,
So that's
then
what
yeah.
I'm gonna go with.
All right.
Alright, Gryffindor. Yeah.
I'm gonna take a drink so this isn't as awkward.
Thank you.
Psst, Rayanne.
Man, this is your...
Can you stop laughing, please?
All right. Diane,
Sorry.
all right.
Yes.
So I have the honor of asking the last question. Some may say it's the
Yes.
most important question. What is your favorite color?
Purple.
Any
Purple.
specific
That
shade
dark
or just
purple.
purple?
I guess you could say kind of like a midnight purple.
Okay,
Ooh.
I like that.
A
Yeah.
little bit of a darker purple.
All right.
Mhm.
That's always been the aesthetic and the style that I've loved.
Yeah.
So,
I like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So that is all the questions we have today. Is there anything you would like to plug?
Go get out, support Black Lives Matter, donate to the causes. I don't care about music at the moment, if I'm being frank. Go help make the world a better place.
Hell yeah.
Donate to the Minnesota Freedom Fund. Get out, protest. Let's just make the world a better place.
Hell yeah. I completely agree
Solid.
with that. That is solid.
Yeah.
Um,
Me too.
So thank you for sitting down with us. This has been
Of course.
Mr. and We're the Good Noise podcast.